Good morning, Secretary General.
Good morning.
This interview is going to be a document towards President Museveni swearing in for NRM victory.
Yeah.
The production is going to focus on the strategy and the foundation, formidable team performance of the victory of the President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni in these elections. So the question number one is, the NRM manifesto of protecting the gains took center stage during the concluded elections. What was the inspiration and the force behind the manifesto?
Thank you so much, and once again, greetings to all Ugandans and most especially members of the National Resistance Movement Party. I would also like to take this opportunity to congratulate and thank the National Chairman of the party, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, for leading us so well during the campaigns and up to now, that the country has registered fundamental growth in all sectors and terms, both quantitatively and qualitatively. And based on that, that is where the various manifestos of the party were sponsored. Right from the time we became a political party in 2006, when we contested under multi-party political dispensation, we've been sponsoring various manifestos for the party. In 2006, 2011, 2016, 2021, and now 2026. All these manifestos were built up on each other. The foundational manifesto was the one for 2006, which looked at so many sectors of the economy, mainly prioritizing peace, the fundamental pillars of the economy: peace, security, stability, infrastructural development, making sure that the enabling environment for governance and private sector development were put in place. And we moved to the next manifesto, which kept building on the foundation that we had set. Now, this particular manifesto and many other manifestos in the past, we were looking at Uganda before colonization, Uganda during colonization in terms of economy and social life, and then Uganda after colonization, and then Uganda that the National Resistance Movement found in 1986. So these were the backgrounds to all the manifestos that we've been sponsoring, because it gives you the depth of understanding what Uganda was in all these stages and why we are saying we are building on the foundation of what we've started. Because by 1986, definitely, for those who may not be aware, when NRM came to government, all the indicators were showing that Uganda was a failed state. Failed in the sense of economy, social lives, peace and security, stability, infrastructures, all the parameters were failed. Governance was a problem. So, and we didn't have a constitution by 1986. And then if you look in terms of the human resource, there was nothing that we would pride of, because during the turmoils of Uganda, most of the intellectuals fled the country. And the country was led by non-qualified manpower. And that was the tragedy that NRM found in this country. And we thank God, because God gave us President Yoweri Museveni that devoted all his time to build this country from scratch, sponsoring a new constitution, making sure that we have an education system internally and to empower our human resource capital, making sure that we have peace and security to attract more investors so that we increase on revenue collection, and all these parameters that we have seen over the years. And so we kept building. By 1986, the population was only 14 million people. Now we are 45.9 million. By 1986, the literacy level was way below even 30%, but now it's at 77%. By 1986, life expectancy was at 46, meaning me and you by now we should be dead. But under the NRM, we are living up to about 63, 64, and so on and so forth. Now, these are what we are celebrating. We are celebrating this through the manifesto, and we are even giving more promises that in the manifesto, we are not only going to continue improving on the fundamentals of the infrastructure and peace and security and all that, we are now moving into the households. We want every household to be productive, to leave subsistence production to become commercial. This word called Musevenomics. Musevenomics is nothing but making everything earns you money. That is the idea. If you see the strategic plan that NRM used to have, the economy that we inherit from the colonialists, what we call the enclave economy, which was producing the 3 C's and the 3 T's that the president has always talked about: tea, tobacco, tourism, coffee, cotton, and copper. Those were the only sectors that were generating money. But because of expansion and liberalization and bringing more sectors into commercial field, we have widened the economy, we have widened the enclave economy and even broadened it by now involving what we used to call food crops to become commercial crops. These are the new dynamics, and that is why we say the Musevenomics theory helps you understand that anything around you can earn you income. That is the brief about Musevenomics. So it has helped this country that we see the economy has grown, the economy has expanded, the GDP has moved and is keep growing. We are now at almost getting to $60-something billion per annum. That is something that we should celebrate. Now, the manifesto is mainly to sponsor these enabling growth indicators that we are seeing, and that is why we got the inspiration to have this manifesto that was well explained to the voters by the president, and it gave us the victory.
Okay. Secretary General, now take us through some of the strategies you applied as a party that contributed to the victory of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
Every election is different from the other because there are always new challenges in every election. Society grows, and when society grows, this growth comes with new expectations, new tactics, new demands. The way we campaigned in 2021, the issues then were different. Some of them are generic, but some of them that we now face were new. And therefore, for every campaign, for every election, there are 3 key ingredients: the candidate, the message, and then the structure of the campaigns. How do you deliver the candidate and the message to the voters? And we thought within our system that we realized we have been struggling to look for voters when actually the party has members who are registered. So the first thing I did as the Secretary General was to request that I do an audit of our members. And that was around midterm of administration. I needed to know how many members do we have as NRM. And so we were supported by the national chairman again. We went around the country to register our party members. After registration, we realized we could not just believe in the number we gathered because we registered close to about 22 million people. That number we wanted to scientifically confirm. So we went through digitalization. We entered their records and their information in the computer, and we ran them through national IDs that they have, through the records of government. And when we got to that, we now realized that we needed to compare our numbers, especially those that are voters, with what National Electoral Commission has. And we realized that of the 23 million voters so by National Electoral Commission, the National Resistance Movement Party was comfortably having 14.6 million. Our 14.6 million registered members were also registered with the National Electoral Commission. Now, to me, that was the beginning, that I now need to focus at these 14.6 million NRM members. One, to make them understand their role, to make them come out and vote for the president and all NRM members. And that was why our campaign was structure-led. Our structure is elaborate that up to the villages, we have members elected. So if you look village, parish, sub-counties up to the district level, national level, You mobilize those leaders alone, we have close to 2.4 million leaders in the structure of the party. Now you tell these leaders that each of you mobilize 2 or 3 voters within your area. And that is how you got the votes. And when we started mobilizing, you saw the crowd that the president was addressing. All these were members of NRM from their cells, from their villages, who were coming to listen to the national chairman of the party and the presidential candidate. And his message of educating the members was... So whereas for us we are concentrating on issues that were affecting the country, our comrades in opposition were concentrating in abusing the president. So definitely you cannot mix that two in terms of looking for votes. And then we end up getting the votes that we got, and we are grateful, and we shall even do much more than this, because we now know where our strength is and what our members should do. We of course need to build more foundational structures to make sure that our members at the grassroots keep understanding the general direction and the vision of the party, and especially the leaders should be understanding this.
Yes, SCJ. So now, can you describe for us how people welcomed the president during various rallies across the country when he was addressing?
One of the key things that speaks alone and it stands alone is the character of the president himself, which attracted so many people. And the party also writes on that. He has a very strong personality that attracts people because of the history that people understand with him and Uganda. His messages, his commitment to develop this country, how he has committed all his effort to make sure the last person in this country is visited by a healthcare service provider, his child goes to school, he has roads to his area. These are things that brings people closer to him. And so, in addition to the structure, how we mobilize, and definitely it was overwhelming. This is unprecedented. The way we move around the country and people receiving the president, in some places he starts speaking, even when he's concluding his speech, people are still entering in the rally venues. So it was unprecedented. This is like how we campaigned for the first time in 1996, when the president was looking for votes for the first time under the movement system. Yes.
So now, which one stands out for you and why?
The whole thing is there are cordial understanding between the people and the candidate. It seems there was that spark that brought them to understand the message of the president. The message was the most important thing. Explaining the 7 points: peace and security, infrastructure development, education, health, water, and emphasizing fighting poverty at household level, and showing the videos he was showing, the PDM success stories. That was mind-blowing. And then you could see an ordinary person giving testimony of how 1 million shilling has transformed his or her life. And then you see how Ugandans waste money. There are people eat pork and drink beer. In one day you are blowing 1 million shillings. And yet 1 million can start something which can earn you more money than what you are blowing. So it was you go to an area when people are living around and say, but I've been wasting money. Kumbe 1 million can make me do this. 1 million can. So that was the story to write about.
There were converts from opposition to NRM party. How did this happen?
To respect members of opposition, I think their members felt lonely. The opposition leaders were not reaching out to their members, and they realized the only way forward is to come to NRM. Because we had a stronger message. Like I said earlier, we were not speaking against any individual. We were speaking against the common problems of all Ugandans. Whether you are NRM, whether you're in opposition, whether you are a Catholic, a Protestant, regardless of your shade of differences, the president was speaking about things that unite all of us. And therefore, you find a member in opposition not finding ground of being in opposition. Because why would you be in opposition when NRM is speaking about poverty, health, education, infrastructure development, peace and security, improving household livelihood. What are you opposing? Are these not the things that every leader should speak about? So when they realize we are on the right track and speaking the real things, many of them who are positive-minded cross to NRM. And we are grateful. We thank them so much. We are going to work with them, especially after the swearing in. We are going to move around the districts to again have interactions with them and have some basic inductions to NRM with them.
Secretary General, President Museveni has been taking oath since 1986. How special and different will be this swearing in form of previous memories?
Well, at the beginning, the general atmosphere was Uganda history was terribly bad. Then we got a savior who came and rescued Uganda from the past. And that narrative took us quite some time. But now, these policies that NRM has been implementing brought new generation. The niche that we have now are people who did not experience the history of Uganda, but they have benefited from the policies of NRM. And these are the people we are celebrating. Our manifesto is directly focusing at the young people, empowering them to have more capacities to develop and earn income, to educate them further, to empower them with the skills. The presidential skilling hubs, we have been, due to the campaigns, the graduates were coming to give testimonies. So the focus are on how we can build and promote young people and give them tools and capital to succeed in this economy. Two, we are also looking at urban poor. These are many people in urban areas that are doing no proper jobs. They are in slums. They are miserable. They live miserable lives. What are we going to do as a party or as a government in this Kisanja? So we are here to celebrate a different strategy. And that is why it is a unique celebration and is a unique victory. Because the victory is focusing at the vulnerable community, the poor of the poorest, the young people, the elderly, the sick, the communities that are benefiting from PDM. So we are looking at the base of society, and that's what we are celebrating.
Secretary General, what should Ugandans expect in these next 5 years?
We have been standard in our operations in governance. Of course, we are going to enhance better governance in terms of accountability, in terms of closing on wastages in the government. We expect that we are going to implement more of the policies and programs we promised in the manifesto. We are going to speak more on how to support women and youth and the urban poor, like I said, and to support local governments to make sure that they perform. The bulk of administration is at local government level. So these leaders at local government should perform at their level. We keep sending money every financial year to local governments for upgrading community roads. We need to follow this to make sure that what people produce go to the market. We also need to keep encouraging people to plant crops that can give them better income, better returns. And so we are going to get busy engaging the community to make sure transformation is about how a society changed from point A to point B. Over the years, Uganda has changed. For those who may not be able to know, there is money in the people's pockets. If you go to the countryside, at least you find in every home, there is a radio, according to the UBOS report, there is a radio, there is a telephone, there is a solar panel. Those are indicators of improvement of livelihood. People are now eating boiled food, they are cooking, they are not eating raw food. When Uganda went through lockdown for 2 years, there was no crisis in Uganda because there was enough food reserves in the homes. So these are things we are building on. Other countries were collapsing because they could not even have reserves. There was no food reserve. You find the country relying on the relief supplies. But in Uganda, we don't have that kind of. And it is because under Operation Wealth Creation, a lot of seedlings, a lot of supplies were given to the ordinary people. They produced, there were enough cassava in the community, there were enough vegetables, fruits. So there was enough food. Now, we need this to be turned into income, into people's pockets. And our vision and focus galvanize national markets, expand regional markets through East African community integration, if possible connect with the SADC and ECOWAS, and then you have the continental market for the products that we produce. We are now producing and now we're looking at markets. And to me, that is a better future we are looking into.
In conclusion, Secretary General, what is your message to Ugandans eagerly waiting for the swearing-in ceremony?
We are going to have a beautiful day on the 12th of May. We shall be having a brand new president being sworn in, and it is going to be colorful. We have invited so many people from around the country, from outside the country. Let me tell you this, the NRM victory is not only a victory for NRM in Uganda, it is the victory of the continent. All revolutionary African parties are coming to learn from NRM. Having stayed in power for 40 years, what magic do you have that you can still win a national election at a rate of 71%? ANC wants to come and learn. Frelimo is coming. ZANU-PF is coming. MPLA is coming. CCM is coming. RPF is coming. UDA of Kenya is coming. SPLM of South Sudan. So this has reawakened the African spirit. And this African spirit is matching the struggle against the constant neoliberal forces that are coming to destabilize Africa. So we are proud with the victory. We are inviting everybody to come for the celebration. This is a victory for Africa. And we thank President Museveni for leading us into this victory. And congratulations once again.
Thank you.